I just want to show you part of maybe a little program. We run 15 programs through Live Free Project. And one of them is called the Brighter Beginnings Bus Run, where we take 100 kids to school that are on DCJ caseload, that are vulnerable, to school every single day. And it started with me just taking a group of kids to school in my own car and doing multiple trips in the city. And now we have a team of volunteers and buses. You would have seen our black buses moving through the city taking kids to school. Every one of those 100 kids gets a door-to-door check-up with mum, which is it's so safe. Like, it just makes that kid so much safer. And every single one of those kids gets breakfast. And so that's just one of those 15 programs. But I wanted to show you that. Is that okay? Alrighty. Let me move this.
Our Brighter Beginnings Bus program is a program that helps vulnerable children get to school, have breakfast and provides well-being on their doorstep. So a lot of our children have low attendance, not because they don't want to go to school, but because they don't have that transport. And so the Brighter Beginnings Bus program has 3 vehicles that goes out every morning of the week, Monday through Friday. It picks up 60 vulnerable children in our community in suburbs like Hamilton South, Waratah West, Waratah, Broadmeadow. And so the Brighter Beginnings Bus program actually provides a wellbeing worker and a driver at every family's doorstep and enables them to be able to have a safe person in their world who can check in on them every morning, and provides a really safe, fun start to the school day. So it means that when the children go into their classrooms, that not only are they increasing their attendance, but they're actually able to engage better because they've been fed, they've had a fun morning, and they've been connected with other kids and with other safe people in their world. The Brighter Beginnings Bus program actually is the only program in Australia that provides a wellbeing worker on the doorstep of vulnerable families 5 mornings a week. And the impact that that is providing in the community is just outstanding. We have teachers, we have principals who are talking about the difference that they're seeing in the children, not just because they're at school, but just the way that they're being engaged, how much more confident that they're actually feeling in the classroom. We're seeing our children getting leadership awards. They're being elected both sporting captains and school captains. The difference that this is making, not just to their academic progress, but to their confidence and their connection in community, is just incredible. And that flows on then to the rest of the community. As children are feeling safe and connected, then they go on to be really productive members of community who give back. And so that just makes our entire community much safer. So we would really like to see this program continue to grow, and we'd like to see it expand to include more children. And we would love to have you be a part of changing our community and changing our children's lives here at Live Free Project.
So a little video is a little bit old. Our numbers have increased since then, and increased by 5 on Friday, which is just keeps on growing. So, but this week we've experienced one of our buses break down. And believe it or not, for the first time in 8 years, my car is back on the road, picking up kids for school, doing multiple trips through the city. And isn't that so funny about story, right? It just ebbs and flows and keeps on going. We're really blessed. One of those vehicles was just somebody who'd grown up in Housing Commission themselves and had a history of DV. And I had been partnering with seafarers, Mission to Seafarers, through COVID, and using their bus and piloting the program to see if it actually made a difference. And obviously it's increased school attendance from 33% to 98% attendance. You need to understand how staggering that statistic is. A truancy officer in a school, their benchmark for school improvement is 4%. So, like, that staggering statistic is just goes to show how much of a difference it actually makes going down and into the community. And I guess from me sitting in wellbeing for so many years, just knowing if I could just pick them up, if I could just get them here. And there's so many things that stop that happening, you know, like it's not just that they can't be bothered, but so many of these people have been through so much trauma that routine is very hard to develop. There is brain fog attached to so many things, and many of them have multiple children in multiple different age groups. If it's raining outside and you've got to take 3 of your kids to school, but one of them is a 3-month-old baby, and you've got to try and get that up and down the streets in the pouring rain, you've got to make this decision: do I run the risk of that kid getting sick as I go out every single day, twice a day, to take the rest of them to school? Or do I actually value the fact that I can't afford medication, so I'll keep that child at home, but that means that I've got to keep everybody else at home too? And so there's so many more factors than what you can possibly understand and experience that stop that for a mum being able to make that connection. And many of them are just so fractured from the DV that they've suffered. It's just so hard to actually get that routine established. But seeing that has just been absolutely amazing. So my first bus, after I'd been driving my car around for a long time, my first bus came from just somebody who had lived that life. And so I had my Mission to Seafarers bus, 22-seater, and then the next day they were starting out their trips back out to the boats and things, because COVID had ended and all of those things. So instantly I just lost my bus. And literally I sent out word to a few different people and just said, we need a miracle. And within 20 minutes, I kid you not, 20 minutes, I had a phone call from somebody who just said, I'll meet you down in the front of your building in 20 minutes. And I just was like, okay. And like, he drove up his black van and handed me the keys and said, the transfer will be this afternoon. You just need to take it. Amazing. So that started our first black bus, which in a community where there's lots of drug and alcohol and, you know, different people that arrive in big black buses to do things that aren't really great. It was just this whole thing of just like, how hilarious that we've got a black bus. It's like, want to get in my car? Anyway, it was just like this funny kind of thing. So we just thought, quickly, get a name on there, put Live Free Project on there so that they know who it is. Anyway, and that's really how it happened. And then the state government gave us another bus, and then Woolworths did a drive-through community at their Christmas appeal and bought us another bus. And so it has just been this beautiful embrace of God providing for us supernaturally, and us not even understanding how that happens. So even just the fact that this car is off the road, like, I don't know what that will mean, but I just believe that there'll be supernatural provision to actually cover it, because this work is too important, yeah? And I just think it's a privilege to stand in people's stories. I think it's a privilege to be able to go into community, my community, our community, and bring interventional change that will actually transform generations to come. And so with that school pickup, if you're a kid and you haven't been to school for a really long time, you don't know stuff. And so your self-esteem is trash. But not only that, you don't have friends either, because they've all made their friends and you don't have friends. And so then you try and make friends and that doesn't work. And so then you get into fisticuffs with people, and the whole process just breaks, yeah? And so by them going to school every single day, they're learning, but they're also learning like friendships and being like this sense of belonging and connection. And we all know with belonging and connection and purpose, that's where you have safety, right? That's where you have safety. And that's where you have people that want to go and play handball before school because I've got friends to hang out with because I know them. And so it's been really beautiful. So for me, being part of people's story, being in community, has just been this beautiful walk. I started when I was 6 years old, just giving food out of the back of my granddad's ute. And, you know, after church on a Sunday, his wife would make heaps of sandwiches and we would just go and we would deliver them into the community. And it's the community that I work in now. And so from 6 years of age, I've loved on that community. So they're not just that community. They're my community. They're my family. They're the people that I have come to know and love. And I guess what's really stupid and crazy about God's story is I didn't know that in those streets, sowing into the future in 30 years' time, would be my adopted daughter. And I didn't know that she was going to be in that street that I would bring sandwiches to and get to know and all of those things. And I didn't know that she would find me at King Street McDonald's, drunk and off her face, after a beautiful women event that I'd had in the city, and just say, "Hi, my name's Kate," and come into my home and my household. And I would deliver sandwiches in her street when I was 6 and 7 years of age. And so you don't know where you're sowing, and you don't know what that life is going to bring, right? You just don't know. And I never would have thought that one of my daughters would be, the victim of sexual assault, or the victim of domestic violence, horrendous domestic violence. I didn't know that that's where my life would go. But God did. And he put in that passion for community and that enduring understanding that story can take place and morph and change, and also that you can end up in circumstances that you didn't plan. You're just there. And the story and where it takes you and the addiction and the process and the healing that has to take place is kind of just like, it's not a deliberate choice. It's just where you find yourself, right? And I also found out in incredible closeness, I guess, as you take somebody from, that life and, not only just love them and let them come home every, week for dinner, but you look at them and you say, "I'm going to love you and I'm going to give you a family, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to change my wills and I'm going to change all of these legal documentations and I'm going to write you in to our story, write you into our family, and give her a new name and do all of those things so she knew she had a place and a family and a Christmas to come home to and birthdays to celebrate and traditions and legacies to be and have, and a future that she had somebody, if she was feeling frail or weak, she could just fall back in and know that she had arms around her." And I guess I didn't know that I needed to learn those things the way that I did, but God did. And that incredible empathy, that knowing and that learning, that as you step into story, there's just such sacredness in it. As you listen to it, as it's broken open, as people share where they've been and what has been their challenges, time and time again, I hear that same little voice that came out of the sky to Moses as he climbed the mountain, to receive the 10 Commandments, the red, fiery burning bush. And there was this thing of like, "Take your sandals off, Moses. You're standing on holy ground." And God was inviting Moses into a richer relationship, wasn't he? At that point, like that richer relationship. And I feel like every time I'm sitting with somebody, no matter how old they are, because I'm in a privileged spot where I get to sit with like babes in my arms, labour ward, holding somebody's hand, being the first arms to be able to hold new life as it comes in, because there's no one else in their family to be able to be with them, to do that job or that place, to sit with them in counselling or trauma or on school advocacy meetings or at their front door or in their hoarding mess and just sitting there with them. I think Greg, he said it so beautifully, where it's like this morning you started off by talking about the tangled fairy lights and all of those things. There's beauty in the mess. There's just beauty in the mess. And we don't need to fix it all and make it perfect. In fact, perfection is just so highly overrated. Highly overrated. The beauty of the mess is where I sit every day. Yeah, where I sit every day. And just the closeness of that relationship. We just had a beautiful night at church just, was it last week? I think it was last week. No, it might have been the week before. And we had just this beautiful Holy Spirit night where we just allowed God to just do and minister and be whoever he wanted to be. And I was meant to decorate it all with fairy lights, and I ordered these fairy lights that had come through from, I don't know, Timu or something, I don't know. Anyway, they were bundled in lots all separately things so they wouldn't be like tangled. And I literally just undid the twisties and it just became instantly tangled. I'm just like, how did that happen? Anyway, I'm just sitting on the floor in this tangled mess. And after about 40 minutes, I was just like, I'll turn the lights off and see what it looks like. Just like this, turn the lights off, and it looked amazing. I'm like, great, we keep the lighting low. This will be fine. Like, this will just be fine. So literally, I just got the tangled mess and just stretched it over the tree, turned all the lights down, and it just looked incredible. And anyway, one of the young kids came up and said, Auntie Chris, what's wrong with the lights? And I said, darling, just stand back a little. And they're fine. They're just so fine. Anyway, there was a prophetic word in that meeting that we believe is spoken over our Christmas, which is there's beauty in the mess. There's just beauty in the mess. And for us on that night, beauty needs darkness to shine, right? It needs darkness to shine, and I'm so drawn to it. And it doesn't need to be perfect. We just need to be on and ready, and the battery's charged and plugged into the socket, and be less worried about where the knots and the lumps are, and just enjoy the beauty of the light that it gives. And so our Christmas this year is going to be called Beauty in the Mess, which kind of fits my household. I've got 6 grandkids under the age of 5. And my little foster kids are that same age group as well. And so, it's just crazy, isn't it, how if you just stand back and you listen and watch the mess and the chaos, there's still beauty in it. And so as I sit with community, as I sit with their stories, as I re-engage so many of them in life, re-engage, it's such a privilege to sit in that mess and allow vulnerability to be broken open. And I just think about this life broken open. It's this vulnerability of this invitation to allow you to see. To allow you to see. And so you can see addiction if you want, or you can see broken family or aggression or anger or, whatever is the exterior. But if you truly see, you'll see the most epic bravery, the most incredible persistence, the most breathtaking honesty. The places that I get to sit in and have people share story just never fail to take my breath away. And how they endure disconnection and betrayal and hurt and abuse, and yet still show up. So for us, we work in early intervention. So we are the people that get called by New South Wales Police if there's a DV situation and a family needs support. We're in community as that woman might step into a community that she doesn't know. She's had to leave absolutely everything that she knows and form a new family and connection in a community that is also dysfunctional and have experienced hurt and betrayal and all of these other things as well. And so for us, as we sit with them and re-establish friendship and re-establish relationship, it's such an honour and a privilege to be in that space. So many of them will need dental work, many of them. We did over 800 dental visits this last year for vulnerable children who have been in DV. and have just had bad oral health, and then have had incredible disruptive behaviour in the classroom because of the incredible pain that they're in. Some of those children have had up to 8 interventions to go back to the dentist to actually get the work done to fill their teeth. I had one little girl who had had 8 dental interventions. One of them was a root canal therapy. And anyway, she was so persistent. We partner with Grilled, and who doesn't want to go to the dentist if a grilled like lunch is at the end of it, and an individual mentoring session. So when we take those 800 kids, every single one of them gets 2 individual mentoring sessions throughout the year. So that's like 1,600 just to start with, and then we have our individual mentoring program that takes teenagers on from where they are and establishes them in work or tertiary education. But with those kids that are there, they've never been to Grilled. Like, they just love this opportunity to just sit and have a meal with you. And anyway, this little girl, Emily, I said to her after 8 dental visits, and her bravery was just so amazing. I said, what do you want to do this afternoon, sweetheart, before we go back? You choose. It's on the list. Anything's possible today. What would you like to do? And she lived in Glebe Road, which Glebe Road is just like you follow that road and you hit Bar Beach, right? You hit Bar Beach. And so she was 8 years old. She'd lived in community for 8 years, lived in Glebe Road for 8 years. And I said to her, what do you want to do? Anything you want, anything you want, anything you want. And she goes, I would like to see the beach. I have never seen the beach. Anyway, breathe in, Chris, breathe in. Sure, let's go to the beach. And I took that little girl after she'd just had all that root canal therapy, little grilled lunch, and she stood at the white railing of Bar Beach, and she stood on in front of it. Then she stood up on the rail. Then she leaned out and she literally went like this. And I'm like, Emily, what are you doing? She said, I'm taking a memory with my brain. So overnight, I can remember what this is like. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, my heart. Anyway, she started taking her shoes off and she said, can I go down on the sand? I'm like, absolutely, baby. So we went down on the sand and she let the waves and everything rush between her feet. And she just had streams of tears just running down her face as she experienced the ocean, people, that was at the end of her street for the last 8 years. She just didn't have what it took to get there. And you know what? We don't have what it takes to get to where we're going either. That's why God took on the form of a man, Jesus. And how we've learnt this morning, even again, just how he was born in the mess, in the dark mess, in a manger. Yet the star, I loved that chorus, how it said it travelled and they followed that star and there it stayed. Do you not love that there is somebody that stays where you are? Stays where you are and lights up that mess, yeah? Stays where you are and lights up that mess. And I just think, like, the opportunities that we have to stay with people in their mess, to walk with people in their mess, to sit and have coffee with people, to just be God with them. Emmanuel, right? God with us. Out of all of the things that God could give us, it was his presence through life. God with us. Good times, bad times, happy times, sad times. God with us. As I've sat in community, people have said to me many times, why is it that you believe in Jesus? And is it so you can go to heaven when you die? And I said, no, it's so that I can have heaven while I'm walking here on earth. So that I can have that direct pathway to Jesus. I was really blessed to be raised in a family that I didn't think faith was a fairy wand. I was really blessed to know that hardship happens, that hard times happen. but that Jesus was there to be with us and hold us and to lead us to those quiet streams of living water, to take us to those places of rest in those green pastures, to truly be with us in the storm, to truly be with us in grief and hardship and trauma. And every time I have an encounter, doesn't matter who it is, it might be with my family, because they've got grief, they've got trauma, they've got hardship. Yeah? And I want, when they engage their mama bear, to have God with us. Because just me, I'm just Chris, mate. I'm a bit useless. I'm good at stuff, like I've got skills. But like, I don't know what they need. If I just looked at them with me, I'd just be like, well, I would do this and I would do that and I would do this. But that would be right for me, not right for them. And so I want God with them so that they know what it's like to feel his presence, to have his idea and his word of knowledge and his gift and his love and grace and mercy wrapped around their life. And even as I hold, it's such a gift, isn't it? It's such a gift. Even as I hold my little foster kids, I got one of my little boy Jet. I got him at a minute past midnight in 2019 when the world just about blew up. And so a minute past midnight. And I'd had his sister on and off since she was 9 months of age. But when I got him, his eyes were rolled back in his head and he looked this way. And that's because his crib was in front of a TV screen 24/7 that didn't go off. And so here he is, 5 weeks of age, and his eyes had fully rotated backwards because that's what was the most light in the room. That was the most light. And so as I held this little babe, who is now like the cheekiest 5-year-old spunk you've ever seen, but as I held that little baby and trained him to look at his mama, to look at his mama, to look at his mama, and me to say, I love you, little Jetty boy. And I'd pick him up and I'd swing around, and I call him Benny because like Benny and the Jets is such a cool song to sing at 2 a.m. when he doesn't sleep. And like, you know, like when I'm rocking him and I would sing over these words about God being with him and him being that sphere around him, and his little sister Lexi, just those words of Jesus loves me. She's now 6 and she sings them to me every night when I put her to sleep. And so these are the things, right? Jesus with us, Emmanuel with us with others, wearing Jesus with us. Emmanuel with us. It's kind of like this thing of just understanding that wherever you are, Jesus is. And their story, as you step into that space, invites them to be part of that story. And that story doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real and authentic and genuine and heartfelt, and room for one more embrace. Yeah, room for one more embrace. I love the story of the Good Samaritan. You know, where the person was like beaten up by life on the side of the road. And I love it that the Bible just calls them robbers, because I've sat with many people that have robbed kids of their innocence, robbed kids of, families, robbed people of their money, robbed people of their dignity, their hope, their finances, their place to live, their ability to sleep at night. Robbers take things, yeah? And yet we have this beautiful picture of the Good Samaritan that sees, in the course of his day, his eyes are looking and he sees, and he just kneels down in the dirt and just starts to bandage. But the very first thing that he does is lift and elevate that man onto a donkey to take him to care. And there's a beautiful story that kind of follows close to that Good Samaritan story about Jesus riding through the gates, beautiful, remember? On a donkey. And people laid palm fronds in front. And I just think, you know those verses that we will be co-heirs with Christ? That he is our brother. I love this lifting to that status wherever you are. You're a son and a daughter. On that same level, that same playing field. Let me restore you that dignity. Let me restore you that place. Let me restore to you where you should be sitting. Yeah? And this beautiful connection with the innkeeper that just is like a beautiful picture of the Holy Spirit, right? Whatever that needs. Flood every space. Every ache, flood every space. Whatever ails you, whatever wound, take care of that. And I will be back. I will come back and I will check on and I will make sure and I will be that advocate and I will speak to you. I will speak to my Father on your behalf. I will speak to the Father on your behalf. Free access. Free access. It's such a gorgeous story. And as we sit in community, right, we have this beautiful embrace. I've not used one of those notes. As we sit in community and we spend time with people, I just think the most glorious thing that you can do is to be part of their story. To be part of their story. It's what the Christmas story is all about, this beautiful image of being part of God's story. Yeah? Taking on this form of a man and just going, I see you. I see you. I'm going to finish with this little slide. There. Oh, not that one. We've already watched that one. Oh no, this is good. No, it's good. Keep that.
Come on in.
Hi, my name is Chris Jones and I'm the director here at Live Free Project right here in the heart of Newcastle. We love our city and we love the people that are in her, and we are so excited to be able to have programs and ways that we can support community that bring nurture and strengthen and connection within our community. Why don't you have a closer look?
There are so many things that I love about working at Live Free Project, but the thing that I love the most is actually getting to see the transformational change within people.
I moved to Adamstown and I've just had my baby, and I saw the sign at the front and I'm grateful that I stopped in because I needed some assistance, and you guys were all in here for me, so I couldn't ask for much more when it comes to being offered a community outreach or opportunity to be involved in something that's healthy and beneficial to me and my son. Sincerely considered by you guys. Felt like I've been able to breathe. I feel more stable. And I feel more sure of that I have a place to to I won't say like a home base thing, but I feel like it's more stability in myself by being present here. So it's helped me get through the first year of me and baby, definitely.
I think the thing that I have loved being a part of is actually being invited into that space with people, being able to sit in the vulnerable moments and being trusted in that space.
I had a lot of really bad anxiety back then, and I was in a really bad place for myself and I was doing really bad things that I shouldn't have. And when I came here for For the first time, I absolutely loved it, and I never stopped coming.
I had really bad anxiety back in like year 7, and I'm in year 11 now, so it was like a while ago. But yeah, I had really bad anxiety, so I got brought into this mentoring program.
And I was like, well, what is that? And then she told me like about what they do, and I was like, that's actually really cool.
And we'll be taken out to get some food and then find a place to talk about whatever topic we're doing. So we've done like anxiety, body positivity, change.
I've got kids who are the first in their family to graduate school, and it's a big deal.
It like changed like me going to school like every single day and actually getting the 100% of attendance up, and I was like so proud.
By comparison, I was incredibly like socially anxious, and I was turning up to school a lot. I did not like a lot about myself, but now I've got almost 100% attendance. I am hanging out with friends almost every day, and I really am like feeling comfortable in my body. That's good.
I actually got a lot of goals kicked when I was in school, and now I finished, and I'm proud of it.
I have come from the Newcastle University to do my social work placement here with Live Free. It's been an absolute privilege to see hands-on the strengthening and the connections that are built and the enrichment that the community gets from Live Free.
They love it that Caden's enjoying school more. He's looking forward to want to get on the bus now.
It's easy to see things textbook, but then to be able to put it in hands-on motion, being out in community, being hands-on in seeing the different needs and wants that people have.
And want to go to school because of the bus run.
Like how kind they are. You play some games with us.
She loves going to school, especially when she gets on that bus.
It helped me like get up easier in the morning and like have a routine.
Motivating for them.
It helped me a lot out in the mornings.
It's the big difference.
Always happy when they're on the bus.
I think the thing that I have loved being a part of is actually being invited into that space with people, being able to sit in the vulnerable moments and being trusted in that space.
It's fantastic just having this service come and allowing us to extend our arms further into our community.
Well, you've had a closer look, and we would love you to be part of our story. Why don't you be part of changing individuals' lives, helping community flourish, and helping us reimagine what community is like here in Newcastle. Live Free Project, be part of the